One of the first inquiries that your divorce attorney will need to make is a determination of what level of conflict exists between you and your spouse, and if either one of you may have been the victim of family violence. Specifically, family violence means an act by a member of a family or household against another member of a family or household that is intended to result in physical harm, bodily injury, assault, or sexual assault, or that is a threat that reasonably places the member in fear of imminent physical harm, bodily injury, assault, or sexual assault. It does not include defensive measures made to protect oneself. Family violence can also occur within a dating relationship. To determine whether or not family violence has occurred, it is important to gather specifics about your relationship with your spouse and how the two of you have historically resolved conflict. For example, how do the two of you argue? Is there name-calling, threats? Do either of you throw or hit things? Is there physical contact, such as hitting or shoving? Or is it the silent treatment? Do you feel safe around your spouse? Have you ever felt threatened or intimidated by your spouse? Have you ever felt isolated from friends or family members? Has your spouse ever threatened to hurt you or actually hurt you? Has your spouse ever threatened to hurt a family member or pet, or actually hurt a family member or a pet? Has your spouse ever forced you to do anything that you didn't want to do? Has your spouse ever threatened to damage any property or actually damaged property while angry? Has your spouse ever threatened to hurt you or your children with a weapon? Has your spouse ever taken the children away from you or threatened to take them away from you? Has your spouse ever threatened suicide or attempted suicide? Does your spouse abuse alcohol? Does your spouse abuse prescription drugs or use illegal drugs such as marijuana, cocaine, etc.? Does your spouse control your access to money or how you spend money? Have the police ever been called to your home? Any of these acts individually can constitute family violence. Any pushing, carrying, shoving, grabbing, or restraining of you or your spouse. Any attempted to or actual slapping of a spouse with an open hand. Pulling a spouse's hair. Physically dragging or throwing the spouse. Biting or kicking. Hitting spouse in the head. Hitting spouse in another area of the body. Attempted or actual choking, strangulation, or smothering. Attempted or actual use of a weapon, a knife, firearm, or any other kind of weapon against a spouse. Trying to hit spouse with or throw spouse out of a vehicle. Any form of forced sexual activity. It is very important for the lawyer to understand which of these factors, if any, exist before determining what protective measures, if any, need to be taken, and to determine what your process options are for proceeding to initiate a divorce.